Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flames of War battle report. It's another late war one, but we're back down at Firestorm, so it's going to be nice real life playing again, which I'm really looking forward to. So I'm playing as the British today, and Richard is going to be playing as the Germans, really getting a good practice with them at the moment. We don't know the mission before we did our list, but as you can see here, the mission is Bridgehead, and I'm using a Recce Squadron, and Richard is using a Panzergrenadier company of the 116th Division, Greyhounds again. So we'll have a little look at my list and then look at the models. So this is my formation today. I'm using a Recce Squadron. I have the Daimlers, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. Do like having lots of scout units, and as you can see with a lot of my command cards, I've made it as mobile as possible. Basically got transports for everyone apart from the 3-inch mortars, which I'm happy to sit away and start plugging away with their tubes from turn 1. But this is really mobile, really happy to see it. Got all the transport properly done as well. So let's have a look at the models and go through the formation in a little bit more detail. So here it all is, the British list. A lot of models here, a lot of units, a lot of spearhead options. So, well, as you can see now with the Bridgehead mission, good flanks to move up on and hopefully go all in on something. So we'll break down the formations, well, just the one formation for me in a little bit more detail so we can have a little closer look at the models. So this is the formation, the Recce Squadron. So we have 3 Daimler troops. So basically 2 Daimlers and 1 Dingo. I have no Little John adapters. The HQ is just 1 Daimler. We also have 2 troops, well, 3 units of universal carriers. 2 have Piats and 1 has 50 cals. We also have the 6-pounders, motor platoon and mortars. And as you can see, the half tracks for the infantry and the Lloyd's carriers for the 6-pounders, just to give a little bit more mobility to the infantry and anti-tank element of the formation. So these are the Daimler element, all done as the Recce section of the 11th Armoured Division. Nice models. Bit annoying I have to buy an extra box just to do the HQ. But eventually I'll put the rest of the box up on eBay. But some nice looking models, nice plastic kits. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the way they turned out, and hopefully do well in my game as well. And here we have the mighty universal carriers, 9 of them this time, 2 of them with equipped with Piats, so they definitely have some teeth this time, going against any armoured vehicle. And the 2 at the back, they are the Vickers models, but they're good enough to go for the 50 cals. Giving them 50 cals because that 5+ firepower could come in handy against dug-in infantry, and obviously against other lighter scout cars or half tracks. They could be very useful as well with the anti-tank. So again, looking forward to the UCs know what they can do, and also being a little bit quicker around the train dashes. So these are, I prefer to do spearheads with these rather than the cars. And then this is the infantry section of the formation. Obviously the half tracks don't have any MGs, it's just for mobility, and again for the 6-pounders, because I don't know if you've ever been there, when they're not in a good position, it takes pretty much the most of the game to get them there, so at least the Lloyd's carriers can give them a little bit more of movement to get across the battlefield when needed. And then this is the rest, this is just the support. So of course added in a rifle platoon, because obviously I like having plenty of infantry to secure my objectives. Everything else is just there for support. Giving them kangaroo transports. These are brilliant because obviously the 50 cals and their front armor 3. I think I've got 4 out here. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly how many I need to have, but definitely in the game I used 3. I'll check the card again later. I've got my OP for my Saxtons. I haven't played a few games now. I think the OP is quite valuable because you don't have to move your HQ, and also you can hide your artillery from sight. Got my Sherman DDs to help out the infantry and to deal with any lighter armoured tanks, and my M10 17-pounders are just there to deal with anything too heavy for my Shermans and 6-pounders to deal with. And for the last few games, my M10s have done pretty well, so I'm quite happy with them. And then I'll go now over the command cards. Plenty of command cards today, and the bulk of them are transport. So Recce Squadron is my formation. M5 half tracks are for the motor platoon, 50 cal carriers for the UCs, and the carrier transport for the 6-pounders. Kangaroo transports are for the rifle platoon, and then the Saxton field troop downgrades the Saxtons, but 14 points for mobile artillery I think is a good investment. And that is it. So let's have a look at what Richard is bringing today. Before we look at Richard's list, I did have a little check, and yeah, 3 kangaroos were right. So luckily I did that for the game. So, so this is the German list. I done it as a defensive list. So obviously I picked attack, and Richard did defend. So 116th Panzer Division, so -2 points off every formation from formation unit. So quite good investment. You bring a lot more. So obviously the HQ and both platoons of Panzerfausts, and the first platoon also has a Panzerschreck as well. Have the 8cm mortars, only 2 of them, but they can be a bit dangerous if used properly. No Pak 40s this time. Instead, the armoured 7.5s are being used. Decent anti-tank, obviously can ambush 4 inches away and then move away as well, and also have MGs as well to defend against infantry. AA guns also added in case aircraft, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then everything else support. 4 SS Tigers with the Tiger Race brings up to 40 points, which is exactly the amount you want for reserves, which is great. So if you play in defense, most likely you're going to have have reserves, so they're good to go in there. So let's have a look at the models again. Okay, so here is the army. Looks quite small compared to the British one, but good sizable platoons of infantry. Obviously, the MGs from the formation go out of the formation because they're now machine gun nests, so therefore independent teams. And of course, you got the 88cm guns as well as pack fronts, so they get the good decent spread around the field. So let's have a little bit more look in depth at the formations again, just one formation like myself. So here is the Panzergrenadier company. So you've got minus 14 points off this thanks to the Greyhound card. And again, I've mentioned before, both platoons and the HQ have Panzerfaust, and first platoon you can just about make out their extra base. So also in the formation you have the 2 8cm mortars, the armoured 7.5s and the AA guns, and again mentioned the 2 MG 42s are now machine gun nests, so not part of the formation. So yes, that's it. So let's have a little look at more units. So here's a closer look at the infantry. Again, German infantry, brilliant rate of fire, even when pinned 2 shots, good in combat. Only downside with the 116th Division is the skill rating goes to 4, and worst is the 5+ last stand. But there's plenty of base teams in each platoon, so hopefully it won't come to that. But for the mortars, it is a bit of a problem. And here's the rest of the formation. So armoured 7.5s coming in for the Pak 40s for their mobility. Also got heat rounds, which is quite useful. And then there's plenty of mobile fire from the AA guns. And the machine gun nests are great as well because they can be scattered around and are quite difficult to take out. And here is the rest. Got the Vesps, great artillery. Mobile artillery is great because obviously you can't pin it. And the OP again, same what I said with the British list. Just park us somewhere, and then the Vesp are okay. Got the Scouts to do any counter spearhead movements. The 88cm guns are good to scatter around thanks to the pack front card. And then 3 SS Tigers. So that's motivation 2, skill 3. Excellent addition to the list, if they can survive, that is, but a good thing to come in from reserve. Again, even more command cards for the Germans. So we've got the Greyhound, we have the machine gun nests and the pack fronts. We had a point space, so threw in the lucky card, always useful. Obviously, the 250 OP would be a Panzer III, but we used the command cards, use that because I only have mid-war Panzer III, so it would stick out a bit much. We also have Panzer Pioneer platoon for the Grenadiers, so in the likelihood where there's an objective outside of the deployment zone, they can rush onto it and dig in, and that'll mitigate the 4+ for the Greyhound. To get in the 88cm guns, they have to be assault flak, so it shaves off a few more points, and even though they're easier to hit, the pack front cards, the bunker should save them a little bit. And then 3 points then for the Tiger Race. So when it comes on, it can be 1 of 5 options unless you roll a 6 and you get the pick. So quite good to have, and of course rounds the Tigers up to 40 points, which is perfect for reserve. So that's the list, that's the command cards. Try to use a different format today. Please excuse my grubby worktop. I will be getting a new one soon. But it's a new format, took photos of the lists and recorded it later, so let me know if you think that's better. Obviously it's a bit tricky sometimes getting a good angle and everything while trying to record it, so well, that's left of looking at the list, so let's have a look at the table and get into the game. Hello everyone, here is today's battlefield and we are at Firestorm, South Wales Gaming Centre, finally back. Did have a game last week but trying out a bit of 40k, so we're back doing Flames of War with Richard. We've seen all the lists, so this is today's table. Rolled for quite a rural table, just one building, the farmhouse, little stream in the corner, and then lots of hedges, just hedges today, not bocage, and fields. So we're doing the deployment at the moment, so I'm deploying around here. And this is where Richard is, and you can see my objective markers down already. Some minefields have gone down, so we're in the process of doing the ranged in markers, and we'll do deployment, we'll have a little look, and then we'll get into the game. And hopefully we'll have some dice rolls today as well, so a bit more interesting. So we can't wait to try out this Recce formation in where they should be operating, I guess. So here we go. Okay, so we have deployment. Let's go for the German deployment first. So the German scouts tried to do a spearhead over to cut off my spearhead. One of them did get stuck behind the hedge, and 2 of them couldn't get into the forest. The pack fronts are scattered in a line across here, basically denying any front movement from me, and 2nd and 1st platoon are spread across here nicely with the HQ in the middle. AA in the centre as a kind of mobile machine gun reserve, with the Vesps in the forest. OP is a bit exposed right at the front, so maybe I can get rid of him first turn. And then we have a machine gun nest here to help with the infantry, and there's also a machine gun nest in this farmhouse as well. Right, so going over to my deployment, I put my 6-pounders as far up as they can, hopefully try and pick off a pack front or some of these scouts, and I have some UCs to help. I have a Daimler troop here. Not sure what to do with them, they might rush forward and do something. Mortars here so they can see plenty. M10 stuck back because I don't want to lose them anytime soon. They're basically in the centre of the board so they can react to any Tigers when they come on, because my reports have said that there's some SS Tigers operating in the area. My Saxons are here. I got plenty of spotters, so I don't need to see with them. Speaking of spotters, he's in the woods with another Daimler troop and some 50 cal UCs. One troop of universal carriers spearheaded up here across country, so 2 went through the forest, 1 went over the hedge, and 1 didn't make it, but that gave me a nice bubble to basically put the rest of my army here. So as we can see, everything is here. So I got my HQ, a troop of Daimlers, my rifle platoon mounted up in their kangaroos, 1st platoon not with their half tracks, and my Shermans. So it is basically more or less going to be a shunt forward on this flank here. So basically the synopsis for this mission is my Recce units have spotted this German formation trying to dig in, and we've called up some support in the form of infantry, M10s and some Shermans, and so we're trying to get these objectives before the Germans realise we're gunning from them and get their own reserves on. So I do have first turn, so good luck to Richard. It's going to be a good one, and here we go. British turn 1. Okay, so that's my movement done. On my left flank, I've pushed the UCs up to get into some range, of course staying outside of the minefields. These Daimlers are tactical moved. They will shoot if they need to, so not put the gone to ground marker on them yet. Of course, these guys haven't moved. M10s, 3 of them are pushed deeper into the woods, but staying 2 inches away from this front edge, so the pesky 88s can't pick them off. This guy didn't fancy going in. The 50 cal UCs have moved up. The UCs that got split up because of the spearhead have tried to group back together, and the Shermans are pushed up with everything over here. So these guys did do a dash, of course staying outside 8 inches of everyone, because I can't really see this 88 because the wood's a little bit too dense. So that is it for my movement, and now we're going to go into the shooting phase. So let's see if I can whittle down some guys. So okay, with my shooting phase concluded, these 6-pounders here, they managed to take out 2 of the scout half tracks, put a bit of fire into this pack front, didn't get anything. Of course, the first thing I had to do though was fire smoke, which cut across here, blocking a lot. Fired pretty much every MG in range on this platoon, but I did not pin them, and I did try to range in my Saxons right by here, right in the centre of the screen, but I failed to range in, so they are not pinned at the moment. There is some things to do for Richard. So first of all, you have no pin down units. You do have a last stand on your scouts though.
5+.
6, they're fine. Then you have...
Reserves?
Yes, reserves.
There's no build out, is there?
No build out. Reserves and not coming in, it's a 5+. You do have a lucky reroll if you want to use it. Or do you want to save it for now?
I'll use it.
Oh, lucky card being burnt up already? No. And then you get the choice to bring your ambush on, so we'll see if that comes on this turn. So here we go, German turn 1. So German movement, the little scout car that could, has moved over to here. Second platoon are holding fast in this position because of the pressure from the UCs and the Daimlers. The AA guns have moved over to quite rightly pump into these guys here. And first platoon did try to do a blitz to get a couple of guys to fire their anti-tank weapons over here, but they failed, so they stayed. But what you can see is the ambush unit. So these are quite deadly, especially against my light armour, well, against mostly anything in my list. And they got heat rounds as well, so that's 8 shots there that are going to punish me quite badly. Let's hopefully I can get rid of them. But we're going into German shooting now, so let's see how effective that can be. Okay, German shooting over here. They managed to bail a UC, and this was just with MGs. I actually failed quite a lot of armour saves, but it was a 6s required. Over here, a lot of casualties. I lost 1 Daimler and got another one bailed because of these guys. Artillery took down a few units, and then the Stummel 7.5cm half tracks killed the kangaroos, and I'm down to half strength with the rifle platoon, which is quite bad. Going into my turn 2, I have a bailed out Daimler, and I need to get back in on a 4+. Oh no, I don't get him back in, so that's trouble. I have a universal carrier that I need to get back in, and a 2. No, he does not get back in, so it's down to last pin down infantry now. So my motor platoon is rallying on a 5, but it's a 5 because of their war weariness. But I do get a reroll from the formation commander, so they rally, and now my rifle platoon is also the same, and they rally, so that's good for them. So now I need another 5 to keep my scout troop here in the game. Luckily they do, so they stay. So now we're going into British turn 2. My 6-pounders also failed to rally over here, so for movement the UCs have stayed where they are, and these Daimlers are pushed up, mainly going to try and neutralise these pack fronts on the side. My M10, who didn't get into the forest, is moving around, try and get rid of some of these Stummels. 50 cals are pushed up. The UCs tried to get over the hedges but failed, so my Shermans have moved down the road, and the Sherman has crossed the hedge. Infantry are pushing up. along with a little dingo, and my HQ's pushed up with them to give them some moral support. And that is my movement. So now we're going to go into the shooting again. Okay, so the 6-pounders concentrated their fire and got rid of the last scout unit. A dingo here with his MGs managed to get rid of a pack front, and yes, I did re-roll the 6 and I got another 6, so well done this guy over here. Likewise, a little dingo over here managed to get rid of the 2 AA guns. Over here also the MG nest and this platoon are pinned, and the OP is bailed out. Couldn't get anything on the Stummels, which is unfortunate, and as of course you can see I put down another smoke barrage with the Sextons. So I'm in position to assault with the motor platoon onto the MG nest, and the platoon can go on to the other platoon. So hopefully I can get in from the fire, so we'll see how that goes. So assault phase. Okay, so that is the assault concluded. Almost got pinned by the motor platoon when they went in. I managed to kill the MG nest, but the grenadiers who defensified managed to get in and take out one of my platoons. I then counterattacked again, killed another grenadier, and then the Germans failed to counterattack, so the pack front was destroyed and they had to push outside 6 inches, so they're back here, and my motor platoon is pushed back to here with my consolidation remove, and they're pinned, which unfortunately leaves the infantry platoon here unable to assault, so they're stuck here for now. But I do have my smoke for cover. So now we go into German turn 2, and we have a bailed out OP to remount. I believe that does remount him on a 4+, so he's remounted, and now it is the turn of the infantry. So we only have the pinned down grenadiers to rally. They do not rally on a 3+, but we're checking to see if they're in reroll range.
Yep.
They are. Okay, so this is the formation commander giving them a reroll, and they're not interested. So now the last thing to do in the startup step is to see if the tigers come on. So 2 dice this time, leading 5s. They do not come on, so we're going into German turn 2. Okay, so for movement, 2nd platoon is starting to make their way across the board to reinforce 1st platoon and their objective. One team has been left behind to hold off the scout thrust over here. 1st platoon failed to dig in, unfortunately, so they're in the open a little bit, but these guys have passed their blitz move on a 4+ because they're Greyhound, so they're in a good position to deal with the Shermans here. And that is pretty much it for German movement, so now we're going to go into the shooting. Okay, German shooting, the Vesps ranged in on my infantry platoon over here, successfully pinning them, but again, no kills. The Stummels here managed to bail 2 Shermans, so if my motivation goes very bad here, that might be enough. Apart from that, nothing really. A few hits on the Sherman, the UCs and the Daimlers with MGs, and unfortunately with the repeat bombardment, the mortars couldn't hit anything. So going into my turn 3, I have some bailed out Shermans, and they're confident, so everything's 4s for these. So let's do the guy above the hedge, and he doesn't get back in, and then the other guy gets back in, so luckily I don't have to do a last stand with them. My dingo, who's still bailed out over there, gets 2 dice because the HQ is right next to him, and he gets back in this time, so no last stand for him. And then I also have a UC over here, and he does not get back in. So now we're on to pin down units. So the 6-pounders rally, and I have my infantry over here. So the rifle platoon needs 5s. I'm rolling 2 because of my formation commander, and the motor platoon, they rally. So that is it for my motivations. No reserves coming on, so I'm straight into my movement again. Okay, in my movement, I have pushed my UCs and my Daimlers over here to engage with this guy. 6-pounders are going to remain stationary from now. I don't fancy running the risk of the minefield just yet, but they are in range of this pack front over here. That's going to be a bit of trouble for me. the little dingo is proving very well. He's got over the hedge and has gone to another good position, and my Daimler did not get over. These guys failed to dig in, so that's a bit of a problem. Sherman's remained still, and the UC got over at this hedge, but his friend didn't. 50 cal carriers are going to remain stationary again, and that is where we leave it. So we'll go into the shooting and see what I can do. Okay, in my shooting, the Daimlers here managed to wipe out quite a chunk of second platoon over here. These UCs couldn't get this guy, but because they're spread out, they're actually last standing, which is a bit unfortunate. Only managed to get one of the Stummels and bail another one, so it's not enough. And again, whittled down a few over here as well, but again, needed a little bit more. So going into German turn 3. There's a remount on the Stummels, which I believe is a 3+. Well, we'll have to check out. That's a no, it's a 4+. So that is the bailed out vehicles. So pinned down units, we've got first platoon, that's rallying on a 4+, but with a reroll. They rally. Second platoon needs to rally. They rally, and then second platoon's last stand test. A 1, but they do get a reroll. 4, which is not enough because they're Greyhound and it's a 5. So second platoon get removed, and the Tigers are coming on. So here we go. Okay, so the Tigers came on, but they are scattered and they ended up coming over in this corner. And we have the deadly gunner because Richard rolled a 6, so he got to pick which one he wanted. And with the dash, they had to do a terrain dash because unfortunately they had a dead comrade here. And they've ended up by here turning because the 6-pounders can be a little nasty on their rear. So that is it. First platoon has managed to dig in, and that is pretty much the movement. The Germans are just kind of holding on to what they've got at the moment. But these guys are a big threat. Can't really do anything against these with what I've got in the vicinity. So that is that. So now we're going into the shooting phase. Okay, so shooting for the Germans. They managed to pin down stuff, but they killed a Piat team in here, so they're going to be last standing. And that was pretty much it. So going into my turn 4 and my motivation, I have my bailed out Sherman. That stays bailed out. My bailed out universal carrier, who stays bailed out, and then it comes to the pinning and then last stand. So my rifle team do not rally, and my motor platoon do not rally, and then the last stand on the motor platoon, and that should be enough because they're not desert rats. So that is rallied, and that is it for my motivations. So we're into the movement phase. Right, movement-wise, 6-pounders are staying where they are, and hopefully I can get some lucky shots over here. My Daimler troop is moving over this way, but as you can see, some of them failed some of the first hurdle and then second hurdle. This guy made it. The main thing is, though, is this universal carrier did 2 cross checks past, and it's important because he's got a Piat. And yes, and we'll roll for that one because that could be interesting. He is going to be moving though in his terrain, so it will be lucky if he hits. I didn't do a blitz, but I did do a cross check, and they all pushed up. Measured it, and basically these 2 Tigers I can get, but I have blocked myself here. The 50 cal carriers have moved over a bit more. Get some shots here. Sherman's again remaining still, and this UC able to move over the hedge again. These guys again have failed to dig in, so I might actually make him go to ground this turn because that'd be better. These guys have dug in, and the Daimler has gone over the hedge and has stayed with his dingo. So all to shoot for. I am ranged in on quite a few things, so hopefully I can whittle down this formation a bit more, getting precariously close to break-in now. And that is what I'm going to go for. So we'll do some rolls, show some rolls for the M10s, the 6-pounders, and the little universal carrier that could onto the Tigers, because I'm pretty sure that is going to be the interesting one. So we'll do the shooting. Okay, so far with the shooting, pretty much MG galore onto what remains of 1st Platoon, who are now in a position of last standing. All the stummels are gone, so it's basically one more unit to run away for the Germans, and it is game. The only thing we haven't fired yet is everything firing at the Tigers. So first of all, we're going to do the 8 shots from the 6-pounders onto the front armour of the Tigers. So there's dramatic music played in Firestorm, which I feel is very fitting. So 8 shots, so it's long range, so it's going to be +1, and then we get another +1 for the concealment. So I'm going to be hitting on 6s with 8 dice. Oh, there's the rest of the dice. So first of all, do I convert to hits? I get 1 solitary hit that I'm going to put there. Now the front arm of the Tiger is 10 for the range, so as long as Richard doesn't roll a 1...
Always possible.
I guess a 6, that's fine. But I want to do my favourite, the Universal Carrier. Now the Universal Carrier will probably get +1, yeah, because it's slow firing. So again, this is going to be a 6. +1 for the terrain, and +1 because it's slow firing. So please, please, please. Oh, so close. My M10 across the river hasn't fired at anything, and he is in range, but only on the arse end of this Tiger here. So 2 shots because he hasn't moved, and I need 6s. Oh, now let's see if that dice is cocked. It is. No. And then I got 3 more shots, again hitting on 6s. Oh, and there's my M10s and not being able to convert this time. And that is it for the shooting. So now we'll go into the motivation step, which is going to be the interesting one for the Germans. So first of all, we have nothing bailed out, but we do have pinned down units. So the HQ with 2 dice, rallying on a 4. He rallies. And then 1st Platoon, that's rallying on a 4+. 2 dice again. Oh, they do not rally. And then the all-important. Do you want to do it one at a time, the last stand? So a last stand is a 5+ because they're Greyhound. Yes, because these are, I suppose it's not an upgrade, more of a downgrade. Their last stand is a 5+. So first dice, they get a reroll. No. So we need a 5. No, and that is game. No, sorry everyone, it's not game yet because the formation commander is still there. Because that means we have the HQ and the mortars, so there's still 2 teams. So just about clinging in. The MGs don't count because obviously they're independent units now, so we're into the movement step for the Germans. Let's see what they can do. So the Tigers failed a blitz. The SS Tigers rolled a 1, so they have moved over here. The Vesps have, or one of them moved as well because they're using their MGs now to kill my infantry in the forest. And that is the movement. Rich is quite happy now; he has less to move. So we'll go into the shooting and see if they can convert any more damage. And luckily, last turn I did manage to take out the OP. Did take 4 turns, but I finally got it. So that's good for me. So shooting phase. Okay, for all of Richard's shooting, all he managed to get was a solitary Universal Carrier by here. So going into my motivations, I still have a bailed out Sherman. Will he get back in? He does. And my Universal Carrier, does he get back in? He does. And now my pinned down stuff. So my pinned rifle platoon, unpin, and the motor platoon do not unpin, but I do get a reroll. They do not, and now their last stand, which I also get a reroll. No, they run away, and then the UC that has to do a last stand runs away as well. Yes. So quite a few units decided they have had enough, even though we're in a good position, but the Tigers do have an effect. So British turn 5. Okay, in my movement, I hitched my 6-pounders onto their Lloyd's carriers and I did a terrain dash. So basically, I just put the guns on the back because it looks nice. So, and they're going across. These guys again, they don't want to do any cross checks. So the unit leader is gunning towards the HQ. This Universal Carrier who got over passed, and this is as far as he could get. This guy drove around, and this guy is staring down at the Flak 88. these guys again remaining stationary to hose down over here, and I will go and move these at some point. Sherman's remaining still. Infantry have pushed up forward for the objective. My HQ's pushed down, and the Daimlers up there remain still, all ready to fire at their targets. So I'll move these, and then we'll get into the shooting. Right, okay then, so basically I managed to get rid of another pack front over here with everything that fired. My M10s unfortunately only got one hit on the Tiger, and it bounced the shot. This pack front is pinned, managed to take out another 8cm, well I didn't do another, managed to take it out, so they're last standing too. I am going to do some assaults on here and on the formation commander. He will get a covering fire here, and he does have a Panzerfaust, but he is pinned, but it's worth a go I think. So I'm going to shoot and scoop my Shermans now and see how it goes. So we'll go into the assault phase, and we'll record this one as well. Okay, so the first assault is going to be the universal carriers on the pack front. So one's going to move into here, and then one has to do the pass the cross check to get over, which he does not. So it's just the one that's in. So Richard has one shot, and he's hitting on a 4. He hits, and obviously that's going to just be allocated onto the one that made it in, and then a firepower to kill. No, he's just bailed, so they go back to where they were, and he is bailed out. Right, so the next one is going to be him onto here, and the pack front I think will just be out, but we'll check. But first of all, you got 2 shots from the Tiger that both miss, and then you can fire your MP40. Oh, you'll only get 1 shot anyway, but if you fire, so basically you got your Panzerfaust, that you'll be hitting on a 5.
Yeah, Panzerfaust.
Ah, he gets the hit. So yeah, that's him back there, bailed out, and then to kill. No kill, but he is bailed out. So yeah, I whiffed them unfortunately, but I am on the objective slightly, so but it's still everything to play for. So we'll get the markers and then we'll do the motivations. Okay, so motivations, we have a pin down Grenadier team rallying on a 4, but you get 2 dice because it's your HQ. And this is just a rally. He does rally. You have a pack front that needs to rally on 1 dice. He does not. The mortar team that needs to rally, they do, and then you got the MG nest that also needs to do a little rally test. They don't. And now the all important last stand test on the mortars. Need a 5, otherwise it's game. And we get a 3, and that is game. So we'll total up the points, and then we'll look at man of the matches. Okay, so it is a 6-3 victory to me because I lost my transports, a universal carrier troop, and the motor platoon. Now to go on to my man of the match, I think it's just going to have to be the Daimlers overall, because they just zipped around. The formation I think I'll give the thing, because I think overall everyone did well, no one did anything well in particular. It's just everything zipped around. It was just like a swarm of flies swooping in on this massive beast that is the German defence here. What about your man of the match?
It's hard. I mean, the Tigers kept me in the game and actually did something for the first time ever for me. The Vesps thought that company was probably the Hummels, because they just they destroyed the Kangaroos, it really held you back, and they hosed down the infantry.
Yeah, the Stummels did do the most. Yeah, the Stummels did the most damage. They blunted what the Kangaroos could do. They stalled the Shermans for a bit, and they also took a lot of fire from everything. Yeah, without them, the minefield placement right by here really hampered my advance as well. I couldn't just move down the road, I had to go over hedges, and the Shermans and the universal carriers just wouldn't go over. Bit ashamed these two not making their final assaults, but these guys over here did manage to get rid of a couple of pack fronts by themselves, which was quite good, and I think overall good for the MGs. So we will recap ourselves, so everyone stay safe, hope you enjoyed, and we have a mid-war report coming next week.